Every time I had to do something, I had to push brick walls out of the way. I just was heavy the whole time. So I booked in, still didn't know what she was going to do to me, and within 24 hours of that, I felt like the brick walls had gone, I had more energy. And the last thing I said was, and I want to study kinesiology. A lot of people walk in and they go, "You're my last resort, I don't know what to do with this problem." I don't fix it.
Yeah.
Kinesiology, I don't actually fix anything for anybody. All I do is facilitate things to change.
You would be moving energy through my body and I'd say to you, "Oh my God, I feel winded." And you're like, "Yeah, I'm just moving that energy up through you."
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I'd be like, "Oh, I feel better now." She's like, "Yeah, now that's in me."
My personal opinion is that humans are really, really smart, and we've created all these different tools that we've got available to us, and we should use all of them.
Welcome everyone to the Reconnect to Self podcast, the show that helps you ultimately rediscover what brings you joy. My name is Scott. I am your host, also a filmmaker, and as always, I'm here with my wife Tracy, who is a counsellor of 20 years, a qualified breathwork instructor, and a certified psychedelic assisted therapist. Tracy, how are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
Good. Today we're going to be talking about kinesiology.
Yes, I have one of my friends here.
Definitely one of your friends. You've been chatting for non-stop for 15 minutes.
That won't surprise anybody.
No.
It is Jenny, so let me do a little intro and we can get right into it. So, kinesiology is a natural therapy that uses gentle muscle monitoring to access the subconscious mind. The idea being that the body holds the answers to stress and imbalance long before the conscious mind catches up. Jenny Shortland has an advanced diploma in functional kinesiology and owns and operates her own practice right here in Perth. And she's someone close to our world. She's actually the kinesiologist that Tracy sees, which I'm sure we'll go through your journey with Jenny as we progress through the show. So if you're like me and it sounds interesting, but you don't really know what it is or how it works, you are in the right place. Welcome to the show, Jenny.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure. So I was thinking a good first question, because that's always important, right? What's the first question I'm going to ask is, because you haven't done this your whole life.
No.
So I'm interested to know, how did you get into it? How did it end up being in your life?
Okay, so yes, you're correct. I haven't done this all my life. So I ended up doing it because I was really tired and my kids played sport. There was a lady near me playing, and her kids were playing sport, and I could sort of hear what she was talking about. I wasn't really listening, but it was enough to grab my attention. We all played different times, so I didn't actually know the lady from a bar of soap, but I was like, I really need to play to my mind all week. I need to go back and find out. And she happened to be there. So I actually went up and introduced myself and asked her. Now, I still didn't know what she was talking about, but I actually booked myself in because my kids were still in primary school. I felt like, my personal words that I want to use is, I felt like every time I had to do something, I had to push brick walls out of the way. Yeah. So if my kids asked me for a drink of water, if I had to go do washing, if I had to go to work, whatever, it's not that I didn't enjoy it, but I just was heavy the whole time.
Just from like lack of energy?
Just the lack of energy and stuff. I didn't know what it was. I just thought it was being the age I was, being young kids, not sleeping, whatever, but I didn't know what it was, busy life. So I just sort of thought, that's just normal, but I knew it wasn't, but I didn't know. Yeah. So I booked in, still didn't know what she was going to do to me. And within 24 hours of that, I felt like the brick walls had gone. I had more energy.
Was it that fast?
For me, it was,
wow.
yes. So I kept going, still not really understanding what she was doing.
Yeah, no, you don't care.
Really
if it's working.
interesting, really interested in what she was doing and stuff like that. And that went on for a couple of years. I already knew that I wanted to know more.
Yeah.
But my kids were still young, and I was like, I can't do this. I then became quite good friends with her over time because we realised our kids were about the same age, playing sport. So that's, sort of thing. And then in the middle of what we call a balance, because that's what we call it in kinesiology, because we're trying to balance you back out again. Yep. she was looking for something in her bookcase and she turned around and she goes, "What are you thinking about?" And I was like, "I'm not telling you," because I knew exactly what was going on. How she taps into that information, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I have a bit of an idea now, but I didn't know at the time. And she goes, no, tell me what you're thinking about. And I went, no, because if I say it out loud, then it has to happen. And she's like, no. Anyway, the long and the short of it, I turned around and I went, I think I want to study this. And she actually turned around and said, I just wrote that on a piece of paper. Right? So, sort of thing. Anyway, I didn't go home and tell my husband. I was like, I'd go home and tell him other things that would come up, but I wouldn't,
Yeah.
And then it was probably about 6 years later, so it was a long time.
Yeah.
Gosh, that
That
is
is
a
a
long
long
time.
time.
Because, in my head, I didn't know how to make it happen. I'd been down to where I studied, which was south of the river, twice for the intro because I wanted to just see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And going by another podcast that I'd heard you talk about was when you get interested in things and then you move on and you go, do I jump around? And I can do that. So I was like, it's just curiosity.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was like, is this just curious or do I want to know more and stuff? Anyway, so one Sunday afternoon, I absolutely chucked the shits with my family in my kitchen. My kids were driving me nuts. They were not doing their jobs and stuff like that. And my husband turned around and said to me, what is wrong with you? And I laid it all out. And the last thing I said was, and I want to study kinesiology.
Yeah.
And he looked at me and went, oh, it's about time.
Oh,
I
really?
was like, what? I said, why didn't you tell me? And he goes, it's not for me to study. It's for you to study if that's what you want.
Yeah.
And I went, I don't think we can make it happen. And he goes, well, go and find out.
Wow.
So I did.
6 years is a long...
It is a long time.
Yeah.
It is a long time. But our kids were busy playing lots of sport, going through school.
Scott, you probably wish I would wait 6 years before going between.
And also because I only ever worked part-time and I had worked full-time and stuff like that and sort of thing, in my head, because I knew I jumped around, I was like, is this a curiosity thing or do I really want to do this and stuff like that? So that was me being, because I was like, it's a lot of money to do it, to then turn around and go,
I'm not that
just
interested
I'm
anymore.
not interested
Yeah.
anymore,
Yeah.
sort of thing. So,
Wow.
So,
And the time that you take as well for that study.
yeah, so that was three. I did it in 3 years. It's usually just over 3 years, but I just managed to be in the right place at the right time to do something consecutively at the same time. So do a particular clinic and finish a bit of study. So
Beautiful. So I want to tell everyone how I met Jenny, because we weren't friends to start with in terms of, I've known you forever or anything.
Yeah.
It was in a session with one of my clients. She said something about how she'd had a session with Jenny. I don't think she named you at the time, but she said, I had a session with a kinesiologist and it blew my mind. She'd been seeing you for a while, but this particular session blew her mind and it gave her a really good shift. And because I'm always open and curious about things, I'm like, wow, if anyone's going to give someone a good shift and it's, natural medicine or natural therapies and things, I want to know all about it. So I got your details and even though I didn't see you straight away, I started referring people to you. So every time someone would say something, I'm like, oh, I've never seen her, but I've got a client that really recommends her and blah, blah, blah. So I started giving out your details. And then, maybe 6 months. It was a while.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a few months. It was quite a while. Anyway, I was listening to an audio, it was a podcast, and it was about muscle testing. It's called the Emotional Code, and it was all about muscle testing. It was all about how our body holds on to information, and we can tap into that. It talked about how we can do that with animals, like you can have surrogates, and animals can also get treatments. So all this information was fascinating. Anyway, around that time, Jenny, you reached out and sent a message to, I think, my therapy page or something. And Scott, you said, oh, Jenny from Align Kinesiology has messaged you. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is actually just right around the time I was listening to this podcast. So I thought, I'll look on your website and see what it is you actually do. Because I didn't actually know what kinesiology was. She just said it was a good session. I didn't even ask her what it was. And so I start looking into your website and I'm like, oh my God, this is what kinesiology actually is. So I feel like the universe gave me the podcast to get me really curious about it. And then I looked into your website and I was like, oh my gosh, how crazy that in the same week you've reached out to me. I've listened to that podcast. I'm full go into, wanting to know about this. So then I went and saw you. Maybe however long after that. Yeah. And in my first experience, like I'm very open to all of these modalities, as everyone probably knows. And usually, to be honest, I just hope they work. I don't really know that they do. Like I just think, I'm sure something's happening. But you were the first time where I actually felt something happening. So you would be moving energy through my body, and I'd say to you, oh my God, I feel winded. And you're like, yeah, I'm just moving that energy up through you. And then all of a sudden I'll be like, oh, I feel better now. She's like, yeah, now that's in me. That energy's in me.
It's me and it's gone.
Yeah.
I don't keep it.
But I could feel the shifts and changes. So I'm like, I know something's happening because I was fine before I laid on that table and now I'm feeling the movement of that energy. So yeah, I've always been blown away, kind of from that perspective.
Well, everyone's different. Mm-hmm. So everybody gets a different thing. So I know you feel stuff. Mm-hmm. I know you get epiphanies. Yours is completely different. Yeah. So, and some people feel stuff. Some people feel emotional. Some people get the answers. I'm not asking them questions, but stuff drops in for them and they go, I know how to fix this problem. I don't fix it.
Yeah.
Kinesiology, I don't actually fix anything for anybody. All I do is facilitate things to change.
Well, because I think we should come back to why you went to see Jenny.
Yeah.
But before we do that, why don't we give the best definition we can of what, because I know...
Okay, no, that's okay. Yep.
Yeah, the best definition we can of what it is for someone who has no idea.
Maybe to what muscle testing actually is.
Yeah, well, so we use muscle testing and it's generally the brachioradialis muscle in your arm that we use, and that... I'm just looking for a change in that muscle, whether it's hard or it's actually soft sort of thing, to see what's going on. And my best explanation at the moment, what kinesiology does, and your explanation that you gave is true, is that we all have different systems in our bodies. So we have our bone system, our muscular system, blood system, sort of thing. And I deal with your energetic system. So your energetic system is the one that runs through all of them. And sometimes things don't run the way we want them to run. We get build up of pain, and that's generally build up of extra energy that we don't need because we're stressed, and there's generally emotions and stuff attached to that.
Yep.
I don't see how you can be in pain when you've hurt yourself and not have an emotion in there somewhere. Or an event in there. So that's what happens to most people, and that's when most people ignore, or including myself, ignore physical pain and go, oh, I'm sore here, but they don't realise that there's stress that's going in, and that's where you can get to the root cause of what's going on.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, good example.
Yep.
So why don't we go back to how you first saw your kinesiologist?
Yep.
Give us set the scene. So how old were you? How old were your kids? What? Because everyone can relate. Once you say that, everyone will relate to that stage of life, right?
So I think I probably was about 35. Yes. Yep. 30. Yep. About 35 maybe.
Yep.
That because the kids were in primary school.
Yep.
Maybe a little bit older. And as I said, I met this particular person where the kids all played basketball together.
So you were just running around constantly. Just running around.
Three kids,
mum
taxi, doing stuff.
Were you working as well?
I was working as well, just part-time at that stage.
Yep.
It was something that we decided that we are doing work part-time.
Yep.
But, fitting in with the kids, doing stuff because my husband worked, and that was the position that I chose that I'd do with my family.
Your part-time job was actually really good as well, because you were in a pharmacy, weren't you?
I did. So prior to doing all this is why if you told me that eventually I would become a kinesiologist, I'd have laughed in your face and said, I don't know what you think I'm doing. Because when I left school, I became a dispensary assistant, so I dispense prescriptions. And I've always been curious about that as well. So I won't say I'm a fay on everything, but I'm curious about medication and what it does. And so when my clients come to me, not all kinesiologists know this, but if someone says I'm on this medication, I pretty well know what that's
this is
for.
why I wanted to mention
that. So that's why
it's
for me, that's one of the things that I bring to the table is, and even if I don't, I'm not scared about going and having a look and stuff like that. And I also know from personal experience about going on medication that I was taking it for the side effect, not actually for what it originally was for, because of things that I've had. This is this is prior to doing any kinesiology, but
Yep.
I knew about that sort of stuff. So, you know, and same with supplements. I've always been interested in supplements and stuff like that to
Yep.
see how that can help the body and stuff. So,
But you were still in a position at that point at 35, like something was going on with your
I just
body.
knew something was going on, and I was tired. I didn't have the energy to exercise. I didn't, you know, I felt like everything was complete exhaustion.
Yeah.
And I was probably burnt out, to be very honest with you, but I was not looking after myself either.
Yeah, right.
That was part of it, that I just wasn't. I now know that I wasn't. When I look back,
Yeah.
I go, I definitely wasn't looking after myself.
In
but
terms
I didn't know.
of like...
Health, eating the right thing.
Yep.
You know, we had a joke in the house, you know, I'd probably consume half a loaf of bread during the day because it was easy to grab a piece of bread, put some butter on it and walk away and do what I have to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I wasn't getting any sustenance into me at all. So I wasn't, I was eating other times of the day, but when I was in a hurry, that was the answer. But I would give my kids the good stuff.
Yes.
I wasn't giving myself the good stuff.
That's so common.
Yeah,
And
I'd
it's
say
very
that's really
common.
Yeah.
But, you know, we need to remember that we have to look after ourselves so that we can look after
That's what
everybody
this
else.
whole show's about.
That's right.
Yes.
So what do you think helped with when you saw a kinesiologist? What do you, looking back now, knowing what you know now, what do you think
It helped.
there was
So
going
it
on?
allowed me to, firstly, it gave me time. Okay, so I had to go to an appointment and I had to allow that time. So I wasn't doing that before.
And it's quite
as
a
mum.
chilled out for the person
It is.
being
Balanced.
Balanced. It's
Balance,
pretty chilled out experience.
Yeah, that's what we call it, balance.
Yep,
It
yep.
is just quite relaxing.
Yep.
You know, there is some talking in there, but you don't have to. If someone comes in and you can bring all the stuff up, but I want to talk about it, that's fine. We can still move the stuff through the body.
Yep.
Men in general don't want to talk. Sounds really bad, but they don't generally want to talk about their emotions. So I will mention them or I won't, depending on what's going on, but it still moves through the body, but differently.
Yeah.
Women generally want to understand where it's all come from, right? But that's me being general, because that's not always the case.
Yeah.
So everybody's unique and stuff. So
And you're from memory, you're feeling those emotions. Is that right? And correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah,
'cause
no,
I'm-
I don't feel them. Okay, so everybody's got their own unique way of doing it, even though we're all pretty well changed. And there's different versions of kinesiology out there. But what I've gathered from my own experience of having different types, because I wanted to know, is we all come out with the same solution.
Right.
So it doesn't matter how you start, through the middle, it's going to be all the same at the end. So we get there at the end. So I get dropped in information. That's really, and that actually scared me originally when that happened, because I was like, I don't know why this is happening and I don't understand, but I'm now just quite at peace with it, to be honest with you, when I get it.
Yeah.
I don't always know when it's happening, but the client does.
Yeah, right.
They generally do, because they'll turn around and go, why did you ask me that? Or why did you say that? So
And when you say things get dropped in, that's just
it's just information. So it's
almost like a psychic kind of...
I would say yes, Jenny.
Yes. So it's just
You just
it's
know
just
it.
dropped. It's just
Yeah.
knowing. It's just a knowing. That's all it is. But I've always done it. So that was the other thing when I was studying. I had colleagues that would say stuff to me and I'd go, I don't know what they're talking about. But I just did it.
Yeah.
So I've always done it. I just didn't know that I did it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I particularly had a colleague say to me, oh, you just do it all the time. And I'm like, I don't know what you're telling me I'm doing when I was studying, because it was new. I hadn't studied anything for 20 odd years and I was quite nervous. And I pulled her aside one day going, you're saying I have stuff drop in, I'm empathetic, I'm this. And I went, I don't know, you've got good intuition. I have no idea what you're talking about. I'd gone home and I'd Googled.
Because that's your normal. That's your...
Because it was my normal.
Yeah.
Right? So I'd gone and done it that way. And then we were in the practice room, because we did a lot of practice and stuff like that, and she happened to be at the table next to me, all doing our own practice. Anyway, I said something, did something, and she turned around and she goes, that. And I went, what? And she goes, that. What we're talking about, you asked me that. And I went, oh. And then I spoke to her at lunch and I said, doesn't everybody do that? And she goes, no, people have to learn to do that.
Yeah.
Right.
So I already do it.
So it sort of came naturally to you.
That part came
Yep.
naturally. So that's why I'm like, I don't understand what's going on, because I'm thinking now I'm missing the point, but I wasn't missing the point. I was
Yep.
already doing it.
Yeah, you had extra things coming through that you can offer.
Yeah.
So going back to, because I just really want to paint a picture so that people can understand, right, this is what kind of happens, and then we'll get on to what's happened with you.
I don't know what's happened to me.
Well, that's part of it.
He observed it. But he observed it. That's the other part.
So part of it was you had a hectic life.
Yep.
Sort of middle-aged stage of life where the kids need everything. You're cooking every meal, all that sort of stuff. Not looking after yourself. So you're carving out that time. Yep. What else do you think was happening?
Well, then I slept better.
Right.
Because the mental load wasn't there.
And how did the mental load disappear?
The mental load disappeared because the energy was taken and it was removed, or the points within my body wherever I was holding it were now unblocked. That's probably the best way. Yep. So we use meridian lines within like Chinese medicine. That's part of kinesiology as well. And this is probably like a very basic way of explaining it, but I explain it as they're like little gates that are there, and the gate got shut. And so there's a build-up of energy there.
Wasn't flowing.
So stuff starts flowing. So sometimes when you're lying there and I'm doing stuff and I do acupressure, I don't do acupuncture, but I use the same meridian lines. Some people will get tingling feelings somewhere else in their body or around the point that I'm doing, and that's the energy starting to flow again. So, or leaving or moving, whatever. Yep. I don't diagnose anything, but if something keeps coming up, I will tell you. I will go, some stuff to do with your liver keeps coming up. So then you can go to your GP and have a conversation if you've not been great, you know.
Have you ever given people information and they've gone and checked it out and it's turned out to be something?
Yeah, there's when your liver comes up a lot for people, I will say, look, you need to go and get that checked out. Sometimes I've had a couple of clients that, even myself, a couple of clients, their thyroid comes up all the time. So I'll go and they'll go, I'm tired, because thyroid is where you get your energy from. And they go, I'm always tired and this, that and the other. So I have gone and said, look, your thyroid keeps coming up. They've been for 2 or 3 sessions or 3 or 4 sessions or whatever. And so I'll just encourage them when they go to their GP next to get some blood tests and say, look, this just keeps coming up. And how they wish to talk to their GP is how they wish to talk to their GP. They can say they're having kinesiology, or they can say that, you know, I've been tired or whatever. It's their choice, but I will encourage them to do that.
Yeah.
Sometimes it has been that it's perfectly fine and that's okay. It's just that something's going on for them energetically.
Yeah.
But sometimes they've gone, oh, actually there has been a problem. So, we're not allowed to diagnose. We don't. And I think that would be really wrong of us to do that. I'm sure there are people out there that are quite capable of doing it, but
And so then you started seeing this person regularly.
Yeah, I did.
You
and
were
then
sleeping better, feeling better.
Yeah. So I actually, what came up in the first 2 or 3 balances, my adrenals were quite fatigued. So
that stacks up,
which
with everything
makes
you've been
total
saying.
sense. And I do have a thyroid problem, so that kept coming up as well. So I was getting that checked regularly, but it was actually my adrenals. And you know, because I knew better, right? In the system that we have, they would encourage you to do, if your adrenals come up, there's currently about 6 balances that you have, and you have them about a month apart. Sometimes you can have them quicker, but you don't sort of do them all a week apart. It's not, your body doesn't cope so well, and it's also a hormone, so you don't want to be trying to make hormones move faster than they need to and stuff like that. So, you know, I had 3 of them and went, I feel great. I don't need to go back.
Yeah.
And 6 months later, I needed to go back because I hadn't had the other 3 and I was back where I was pretty well. Yeah, I was back. I was very tired and stuff.
Yeah.
So then I had all 6 and I felt bad.
Yeah.
Every now and then I need an adrenal balance, but like I don't need to have the
that
whole
shows
6.
you right there.
That's
like,
exactly
you know, you
right.
went right back to it, and then as soon as you started again.
You know, and I went, because I knew that I felt better,
Yeah.
I was like, I don't need to go back.
People always do that.
And we
with,
do that.
Yeah.
I've done it with other stuff. Like,
I'm
I
doing
feel
that right
great.
now.
I'm sorted. I'm
also
sorted.
done
I
it.
don't
Yeah.
need to, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, and in saying that, I needed to listen to the kinesiologist that I said when she said, look, it is a set of 6 and, you know, it's ideally that you try and do this and stuff like that. And I should have, and I learnt my lesson. So, you know, so that sort of thing. Yeah.
Okay, well, why don't we take Tracy as an example, because I think it'll be a good exercise to talk through what happens at an appointment.
Yep. Okay.
And then, Tracy, you can chip in with your memories of
Okay.
you know, why you went there and what was happening. So Tracy walks through your door.
Yep.
Step us through it.
Okay, so my clinic's actually at my home. So when they come in, I do get them to fill in some paperwork, and I usually just get the basic details, and then I probably will change my form because I have over the years, but I do get some basic history of things that may have come up with you medically, or some of it's not medical. Some of the questions are, do you feel stuck in life? Do you have any joy? Do you sleep?
And why are
things.
you asking those things?
Because that sort of gives me a bit of a guidance of what's going on. So, to be very honest, the sleep one's the most important one, in my personal opinion, from doing kinesiology, because if your sleep is out of whack, you have no patience, you're exhausted, you're not looking after yourself and stuff like that. So some people are taking medication for it and it's been working, but then it's not, sort of thing, or not working as well. And that's fine.
For sleep you're talking about?
For sleep, yep. And they've tried everything. To be very honest with you, a lot of people walk in and they go, you're my last resort. I don't know what to do with this problem, right?
Wow.
So because they've not heard of it, which
No
is
pressure,
fine. No pressure. This is a lot of pressure. And I go, okay. And when I first started, it felt like a lot of pressure. And now I just go, okay, we're going to do what we can do.
Yeah.
So
I reckon that is almost... Because here's the thing with kinesiology, right? Not many people understand it. And even before, you sort of said about when someone goes to the doctor, they can say they saw a kinesiologist or not. Almost like there's a taboo.
There is a bit of a taboo but I have a different opinion of all that. So
that's why we want to talk about
sort of thing.
Right?
So I don't think that it's one or the other. My personal opinion is that humans are really, really smart, and we've created all these different tools that we've got available to us, and we should use all of them.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I think the reason why it's taboo is people don't know about it. If you're if you're a doctor, there's so many different natural, medicines and options and things out there. Like even with your ear, when you had issues with your ear, no one gave you any hope about going and seeing somebody, and yet you saw a naturopath and you've had heaps of relief.
Yeah. And that's why we do these shows.
And it's finding that thing that works for you, right?
Yeah.
Because my husband's had an issue with ear problems as well. Yeah. And, he ended up with a specialist, and the specialist just turned around and said, you need to take Voltaren and anti-inflammatory, and that will sort your problem out.
Forever,
right?
Sounds
Which
great.
is fine, and it's an old style anti-inflammatory.
But who wants to take a tablet forever?
Only when it's a problem though,
okay.
right? So for him, because he clamps his jaw down, and he's fine that I'll be talking about, he clamps his jaw down, right? But he doesn't want, so when he goes to his GP, whenever he goes, because he doesn't go very often, and he asks for that, they now say, no, we want to offer you this, and he's like, no, I don't want any of those because they don't work. They cause me other problems. I need this one because it's an old style, right?
Yeah,
but he knows it works.
Yeah.
But since I'm doing what I've done, we've worked out some other stuff, kinesiology-wise, but also a natural health therapy thing that he can use to put in his ear. When he catches it, he doesn't end up with an ear infection, and he cleans it out, and it's not a problem for him.
Yep.
And it took, once I'd found out the information, it probably took me about a year to convince him to do it, because it's putting drops in his ear. Because you go, you asked me to do something, this is a bit weird. But now he's like, where's that? Where is it? Like even the other day, because he knows he's a bit stressed, so he knows he's clamping his jaw down and his ear was sore, and he's like, where is it? I need to put it in because I don't want an ear infection.
Yeah, he knows how to help
So,
himself.
but it's taking that time to actually do that. It's all right, sort of thing. So, that's my perspective. I think that you use what tools are available to you, but also everybody's an expert in their own field. We don't know everything.
Yeah,
Right?
totally.
So I'll be really cheeky. I'm now expert in my own field.
You
It's
are,
taken me
but
a
you
long
are.
time
Yeah,
to say that,
absolutely. No,
but I'm
that's-
expert in my own field.
Yeah.
You're an expert in your field and you're an expert in your field. It doesn't mean that I don't know a little bit about filmmaking. I don't. Yeah. I know how to watch them, but that's about it, right? Yeah. And it doesn't mean that I don't know a little bit about what you're doing, but it doesn't mean I don't know. So I understand from, I've watched my young adult children go to GPs, and they're not, because I came into a bit late, they're not gravitating towards natural therapy. They will gravitate towards GPs and stuff like that, but they will come out very frustrated when they go, just take this and I don't know what else to do for you.
I'll get on my high horse regularly about.
But
the
I need
medical-
to remind them. But I need to remind them that's all they know.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
to calm them down, so then they can think clear and go, what do I want to do about this problem? I turn around and go, but that's all they know, right? That's what they know. They went and studied, and that's what they know, right? So they're not bad people.
No,
because
not at
that's
all.
what happens.
No.
Is
And that's
then
their
they
job.
go, oh my God, that's their
is
job,
to,
right?
The way I sum it up is to keep you out of hospital.
That's exactly right.
That's
I've
basically
heard you
what they're
say
trying
that
to
in a podcast.
Yeah.
And you are one of, because that's what they made a decision back in the early 60s. The way the medical system said it, they made a decision. Is it going to stay the way that it is, or is it going to, we have to fix what's the problem, or are we going to do the health side?
Yeah.
Because we're meant to do the health side.
Yeah.
We're responsible for ourselves. So having the unique opportunity that I had where I worked in a dispensary opposite a medical centre, so I had lots of conversations with doctors and stuff like that. So my also unique part is I call them by their first names. I don't call anybody by their surnames unless they specifically ask me to, because they're just humans just like me,
are,
right?
yeah.
But they have their unique notes, same as surgeons and stuff like that. So, you know, I had that unique time in my life where I was doing all that and was able to now bring that knowledge with me to start
absolutely.
kinesiology.
Yeah.
So unfortunately also that's made my children panic because they didn't know some of them didn't know what they wanted to do when they finished school, and they're like, well, Mum didn't know until she was nearly 40-something. How am I meant to know at 16?
My kids will have the same with me. They've
Right.
watched me change careers however many times.
Yeah. So I think it was actually you were having a balance, and I told you something which I turned around and said, oh, here's a useless bit of information, and you just looked at me and went, it's not useless, Jen. And I went, I need to change my wording because it's not. So I have picked up knowledge.
Counselling your own
years. No, but there's, it was something that had been playing. Someone else had said something, and it was actually, I think you turned around and said, no, that's a golden nugget bit of information. I went, okay, I need to change it to golden nuggets because I don't want them to be useless bits.
Yeah.
But I had noticed over my life that we would have conversations with different people, and for whatever reason, I'd pick up something you'd say.
Yeah.
And I would stay in here and I'd go, why am I walking around with that bit of information? It was obviously what I needed because I gave it to you.
Yeah.
And I've had happen so many times in the last year, it's not funny.
And I think once you start noticing these things, it gives almost like your brain or your, whatever, permission to do more of that because you're validating it when you're doing it. You're not dismissing it. Yeah.
So
And I think your life experiences make you what you are. And I just want to tell a little story of when you came to help out with breathwork, because I think this sort of paints the picture of the sort of person you are. So we were doing it was our first one, wasn't it, Tracy?
Yeah, our first.
So our first ever emotional release breathwork.
Well, away from the retreats.
Away from the retreat. So it's the thing we do at the retreat, but we were doing it as just a one-off breathwork in a lovely place in the Swan Valley. There's one coming up in June. On June 7. Spot's still available. Right. And I'm always stressed out about the tech because you've got the headphones, you've got this mixing desk, you've got the music, everything has to work, Tracy's microphone, all that stuff. So I'm usually quite heightened. And we'd asked you to come along, and
Jenny's also studied breathwork too. So just
yes, I have. Yes, I have.
And so that's why you were going to be in the room with us. And as soon as you were there, like, I felt calmer.
Okay.
And I think I told you that on the day.
You did.
Because you just have this aura about you that is quite...
grounded.
Yeah, ground. That's a great word. Yeah.
Thank you.
And I think that just naturally makes people feel better. And I think the reason you're probably like that is all the experiences that you've had throughout your life have sort of mixed together to create who you are now, which is just being in your presence is quite relaxing in itself.
Okay, I'm going to tell my kids that. No, I do agree. No, I do agree because I do remember that day.
Yeah.
And I do remember you being nervous, and I'm like, but also, and I was excited to be there because I was still in the process of doing my breath work. So I was like, oh, this is going to give me an insight to go, yep, this is really what I want to do and stuff. And Tracy had said, yes, we'd love to have you, and that would be great. So I was like, cool. Still not sure what I was meant to be doing while I was there, but I did know
that was the other thing is I felt you jumped straight into it.
Yeah.
And were like,
but it's just what you do. So it's just me, but that's me. So that's what you do.
Yeah.
So that's why I go, oh, what else am I meant to be doing?
Yeah.
But I don't need to do anything else
No,
because
that's-
I'm
that's
already
all
I should probably
doing it.
paint the picture of what. So Tracy was obviously doing all the talking on the mic. Jenny was. So when you do an emotional breath work like that, you can be wriggling all over the place, and like your energy can be a lot.
Yep.
And so you were grounding people.
Yes,
From what I could
that's-
tell.
Yeah. Grounding people,
Yeah.
making them feel calm.
Yeah.
Letting them know that they weren't on their own if they
Yeah.
needed help.
And
with
just through
anything, which is
physical
fine.
touch, not
Yep,
you weren't
not
chatting
talking
to them. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
talking to them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
I remember I've got a photo of you. You had two people.
I did because I was like, I need to hold both of them at this stage, but I'm like, yes, which is absolutely fine. But so
Big asset on the day. So go back to my
Yeah, yeah,
sessions.
yeah.
So in the very beginning of a session, you have a big chat to people,
Yes.
get their history, know what's going on from their life.
Yes.
Then you lay them on the table, or they lay on the table.
Yep.
And then you start testing what's
Yeah.
going on in their body.
Yeah, so we do pre-checks, so to make sure that our bodies can communicate. That's probably the best way to explain it.
Mm-hmm.
But if something's not working, something's not functioning properly, then I do some adjustments beforehand. And I use your left arm predominantly because that's the side of the table that I sit on. Stand on, sorry. The person can close their eyes. They can't go to sleep because I need their access to their arm. Some people can go quite into a meditative state. They don't need to. Some people keep their eyes open. People that generally gravitate towards me want to know what's going on because I'm curious. So that's what I've worked out, that most people are curious. So first part I do pre-checks, and then I do a thing where I'm looking to see if your aura is in place. And some people know what aura is and some people don't. So my best explanation is when you know that someone's in your personal space but you don't need to turn around.
Yeah, you feel it.
You can feel it.
Yeah.
So that's your aura.
And can we just tell people that think that, well, I'm woo-woo, you're woo-woo, this has all been scientifically measured.
Yes,
this
it
stuff
has.
nowadays has all been measured. We have a biofield.
We do.
have these
And they've
things
also
that have-
they've also done studies in shopping centres, which is quite interesting because they've had people, because there's security cameras everywhere in shopping centres, have been for years, and so they've had security people sitting there watching the monitors, and people will look up at those security cameras. Less when there's nobody watching those monitors.
Oh,
Really?
really?
They've actually done tests on study on
They
it.
can feel it.
So you can feel it. So that's the same as when you're in a big crowd and you're walking along and you get that urge to turn around and you lock eyes with someone and then you look away because that's actually your aura, because their aura for whatever reason has locked and stuff. So that's why you get the urge.
Do you know, my daughter's having a drama with a friend at school at the moment, and she's like, I can feel her watching me. I can feel her.
So she can, that's
Yeah.
right. So she can. And that's why that saying that, mums have got eyes in the back of their head.
Yeah, they
It's very
feel
true.
it.
And dads and whoever.
Yeah, yeah.
It's very true because you can feel it. So sometimes when especially when you know the person and you're busy doing something and someone appears at a doorway but you've got your back turned, they're there. You can turn around and go, yeah, what do you want?
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
Yeah.
So
And do people
we
have
do.
positive and negative auras? Is that a thing?
They do. I won't say they're positive or negative, but they can move. So when I'm looking to see if they're actually still around your body. That's probably the best way to explain it. Yeah. I check it in a 3D way, so I'm checking it if it's top, bottom, left, right, front, back. It's not 3D, but it's because it's our biofilm, it's around us. And so a lot of people, when they come in first time, I can't feel it because my arms aren't long enough. But also some people's it's generally down by their feet or below their feet. And that's generally because they'll say to me, I've been really tired. And, when you say, I feel like I'm dragging myself around today, I'm so exhausted, that's why you're saying it. If you say to them, I don't feel like I'm here, because it's not actually with you, or I feel like I'm a bit beside myself, you're actually talking about your aura.
Yeah, right.
Right?
And
So
you
those
mentioned-
things that we automatically say, we're actually talking about.
You said something about it was down by your feet.
Down
What
by your
does-
feet. So when I
explain what that
check,
means.
I do finger modes, that's what we call it, or mudras, that's what they call them. And I'm just trying to run my hand along to see when it changes. So I'm actually using your arm to muscle monitor to see where there's a change. And some people, it's by their feet, by their knees, below their feet, whatever. And, when you talk to them, they go, I feel like I'm dragging myself around. So instead of it being like around them, it's like a puddle down on the ground and they're dragging it. Yeah. That's what I imagine it feels like. Yeah. And I know what that feeling feels like because that's probably what my brick walls felt like, and that's what I was, sort of thing. Yeah. So that's what and so I do it so that I put your aura back in if it happens to be out even slightly each time, because I think there's no point in balancing you and having that out. So I'd rather it be back where it needs to be and then
Is it possible to explain how you do that?
So we touch certain. So the most common is to touch certain points on the body, and there's a regime for the left side, and there's a regime for the right. Everybody is different, and everybody's time. Every time it happens is different. So some people will feel it come back in, and some people don't feel anything. I now can. So my fingers tingle as I do it. My hands vibrate as well. So I went off to the GP when my hands started vibrating because, when you get to a certain age, you go, is there something else going on? I want to make sure that I'm not unwell and stuff. And no, there was nothing wrong. And I spoke to some other kinesiologists and they're like, yeah, my hands vibrate too. And I'm like, okay, cool, that's fine. But I did, but I did want to I didn't want to assume that it was what was going on with kinesiology. It wasn't a medical thing that was going on. So, So, and then we do different corrections. So when we call it corrections, that's so that I can balance everything back out again for you, because it is a stress that's within the body. So we want to do that.
One time, because is this towards the end where you get people to say a certain word, like you're checking emotions. Yep. So I can't remember if it was my first or my second session with you, and you said to me, I don't know if this is going to make sense to you, but I'm getting the word panic. And now, for me in my life, I don't really panic about anything. But funnily enough, I think either that day or the day before, Scott, when we were talking about us changing roles and me being the one to go out to work and he was going to be doing more of the home stuff and, more of our business and everything, he just wanted to show me our bank accounts. He sat in front of the computer. And now I'm very lucky that he takes care of all the life admin. Well, most of it anyway. So he tells me all these things about finances and I just go, yeah, numbers on a screen. Whenever he's worried about money, I'm like, just think of it like numbers on a screen. Like it goes up and it goes down. It's going to be, we're fine. And so when he put me in front of the computer screen and he said, I just want you to see that number on the screen has gone down quite a bit in the last however many months. That's probably where the panic came in because I was faced with the reality of what I was seeing.
For context, the reason I did that is because I had made a shift in work and basically given up quite a well-paying
that I made him
retain a contract, which I'm glad
I'm to do. Yes, you couldn't have you couldn't have done that now. There's no way.
It's like a year and a half later, and I'm so glad that I did. But what that means is that money is not hitting your bank account.
And it's scary.
And
was panicking.
I work from home and I get I was even thinking about this yesterday, the Amazon or Postman or whoever is dropping a package off of online shopping every single day.
We do not shop in this house.
The spending habits had not changed at all. And so what I was trying to point out to Tracy was the spending hasn't changed, but the income has changed. And that's why that number has gone from there all the way down to here. And that was the first time. You didn't tell me at the time that you were panicked. You told me later because you wanted to maintain that facade. Because obviously I panic. But I'm quite open.
You're only allowed to have one person in the relationship panic at a time. Okay,
I'm quite open about my panic.
And I've always been the calm one. We're fine. We're fine. Which we are fine. But it wasn't until Jenny said the word panic that I was like, oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
and so I didn't have any context of
no,
what
you
that
didn't at all.
Right? So that's what actually happened. So when I first started with kinesiology, some stuff I'd read. So I have books, I have files and I have books with information. You don't actually see it, but my arm is connected to your body and my hand is running over and I'm being directed because your arm will change, which is the muscle monitoring. And I go, okay. So at some stage I was obviously asked to get an emotion for you. And that word came up. So sometimes I'm okay with it now, but when I first started, I'm like, I'm not saying that word. I'm not saying that word. Now I just say it because I just go, it's not about me.
No.
It's actually about you.
Yeah.
And you'll find the relevance. So that's why I said to you, I don't know if it's relevant to you or
Yeah.
whatever, but you'll find the relevance, because it's not, I will guide you if I need to, but that's my personality.
Yeah.
But you actually will find the relevance for that. And that's happened so many times in kinesiology, where you'll come in for something. I'll just choose you. You'll come in for something, and then this will come up and I'll go, it's got nothing to do with what she's talking about.
Yeah.
But I just ask you now, because it's been playing in your mind mentally anyway, or you've had a conversation with Scott beforehand and it's playing in your subconscious. And so it's actually relevant, because it's relevant, even though I go, it's not about that. It actually is. It's all interconnected.
Yeah.
Nothing's separate. It's actually all connected. So if we can relieve that, then it relieves the other things that are going on for you.
Yeah.
So, yes. So, no, I don't know what your panic was about, but it's your body knows.
And what it shows as well, and I'm always saying this to people about, whether it's breath work or we're doing EMDR, we're trying to clear things out of our body from that subconscious level.
Yeah.
Because again, I was sitting in front of the computer, I had that panic feeling. Like you said, I didn't really show you that. So that emotion kind of went into my body and didn't get expressed.
Went somewhere.
Yeah, so it just goes inwards. And so this is just another modality that allows you that clearing out of the energy that's sitting in there.
Yep.
And with that emotional component,
That's
sort of
correct.
there as well.
And sometimes we come up with it, so that sometimes that emotion comes up regularly in our life, but we learnt how to deal with it, good or bad, back in our life.
Yeah.
So sometimes we do a thing called, a lot of the times we do a thing called age recessing. So we go and find out where it originally happened.
Oh, I forgot about this. Yes, tell
where
this
it
bit.
originally happened, right? So we can use the word panic. We can use, different words. So I know you know a lot about your subconscious, but your subconscious, when I was trained, our subconscious rules are pretty written right up to the age maybe 5, and that's how you write your rules of how life should be. At that stage, we're pretty self-centered. And we probably should stay a little bit self-centered, not try and look after everybody else, but pretty self-centered. So when your eyes close at night, everyone goes to sleep. When your eyes open, everyone's awake, sort of thing. So we write these rules. So one of the explanations that they said to us is, when we were talking about that, when we were learning, is, and maybe it should have happened to me and then I wouldn't have had some weight issues as I was getting a bit older, but anyway, is when you were younger, Mum said, you've been really good today, let's go and get you a biscuit from the kitchen tin. I'm like, okay, yep. So you follow Mum, you're only about 3 or 4, you follow Mum. As she walks there, she stubs her toe and she's in pain and she's on the floor, right? And because you're that little, you want to make sure Mum's okay, you give her a cuddle, she's got tears, there's a little bit of distress. Even though you're meant to be getting a biscuit, there's a bit of distress. She gets up, she moves around, she opens the tin, there's none left. Right? So then she's like, I'm really sorry, but there's none left. So every time someone offers you a biscuit, you go, no, I don't want that, because someone's going to get hurt.
Oh, there's that
you
link.
don't know,
There's that
because it's a subconscious rule.
Yes.
Maybe I should have had that because I like biscuits. So maybe I should have had that. But that was one of the things. So that's a rule. So then you've got to retrain your brain that rule's not really real, right? So when someone talks to you a certain way because you were feeling fragile or you were in a good mood or whatever, when someone talks to you in that way, you'll behave a certain way. And some people will look at you as an adult and go, I don't know why she's behaving like that, because I just asked her if she wanted a biscuit.
Yeah.
And she's gone, no, and actually I'm just going to leave the room, sort of thing. So emotions, so then things get caught up in our body, and sometimes they're stories and sometimes they're particular things. And you can have that event happen more than once in your life. So we will age recess, try and get back to where you are, where it happened originally, to rewrite and go, it's actually safe, you can have a biscuit.
So Jenny did that to me, and you literally went, right, what happened in April of
whatever
2000 and da-da-da. And funny enough, so when we tracked it back, because it was only like sort of 5 years ago, whatever it was, I knew kind of around that time what was going on a little bit. So it's so interesting. Again, there's that trapped emotion that gets stuck in there. But I don't know where I heard this example, and you can correct me if I'm getting it wrong in terms of my example, but I heard something once where this lady was obsessed with chips, and she was overweight, and she would eat chips when she was sad, when she was happy, when she was, any time at all, she would eat these chips if it was like a moment in her life.
Yep.
And she didn't know why she did that, but she was like compulsively eating these chips. And maybe I've got something locked in there for me. So then I think it was kinesiology, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And they figured out that when she used to see her dad, who was now deceased, they used to go to the seaside, like they were English, and they would have chips, like hot chips from the fish and chip shop. And so that brought about beautiful memories of her dad, and they're having this connected time. Yep. So she had that emotion of every time she had the hot chips, it was like connecting with her dad, and it was that comfort. And but she didn't realise she was doing that because she'd done that since a little girl. Yep. And that was later on.
But it wasn't serving a purpose anymore.
No,
because she was obviously trying to look after herself, but she was going there. So that's the sort of thing that happens, good and bad. They're always, it's not always a disastrous thing. Sometimes it's actually to remind you that good stuff happens, the emotion that comes up. And yes, that's, that sort of thing. And also then explains to that person their behaviour. Mm-hmm. They go, oh, that's what I keep doing, or oh, that's why I keep getting triggered by that person because that person is so much like that person, sort of thing. So then they can clear that.
Yes.
So, I'm just trying to, again, paint the picture for the listeners. So if we go to when you're dealing with Tracy.
Yep.
So panics come up. You're talking about somehow something's dropped in about this time in April.
Yep.
How do you then clear it? What are you doing?
Okay, so what we're doing is then, so 9 times out of 10, I get the client to try and talk about it because the more we can talk about it verbally, the more it comes to the conscious mind and we can clear some of the stuff that's going on physically. And then we do look to see if there's anything else still active to do with it, and it could be another part of the body and stuff like that. And then we do corrections. So those corrections could be chakra corrections, they could be 5-element corrections, energetic corrections, emotional corrections, structural corrections, because sometimes there's that sort of thing. So we do different things.
And from memory, you got me to hold certain things or something? Is that involved in the correction?
Yeah, it was. There was different things that I can't remember what I got you to hold because I can't remember.
I feel like it was a while ago. I feel like I want to say like peppermint or
okay. So
like
so
that.
I don't currently. I am going to, but I haven't used essential oils. But I use flower essences
in my
flower essence. So I use flower essences in my practice. So all flowers have healing properties, and all come with an affirmational attitude. So I currently use Australian bush, desert and bark flowers. So there's about 109 from memory. So to find that flower essence that we're looking for, you've got coordinates on your body. So I touch different coordinates to figure out which one is, using your arm, which one actually activates. Yeah. I look for 2 coordinates and then I go into a file that then connects those coordinates to a particular flower. So the flower that comes up for you is the flower that comes up for you. It's not because I've gone, actually, I want that one. That's not what it's about. Yeah. And because there's so many of them, I don't actually remember. I remember the names, but I don't remember what they're all about. Yeah. So there's just much of a surprise to you as it is to me when I have to read it or whatever. Yeah. So, the flower essences help make changes within the body because they have a vibration of their own as well. So some people take them, and because mine's sitting in brandy, it's a few drops. Some people don't want to, and that's fine. If I can have the bottle near them, they got the vibration of that product as well. But there's an affirmation or an attitude that goes with it, and there's generally, it's like a bit of a story. So sometimes there's not a specific emotion that's coming up for someone, there's actually a story. So I can give you a particular one because I remember it from yesterday when I was with somebody. It's called Turkey Bush. It's Australian desert from memory, and it's about creativity and the blocks in creativity.
Oh, yeah, right.
So
you there, Scott?
So for it's come up for me to do with creativity as well, and I really do remember looking at my kinesiologist going, I don't know what you're talking about. I knew exactly what she was talking about, but it was something that I was avoiding. Yeah. So, and I like to be creative, but I was actually that it's to do with my business, but that's okay. Yeah. That's another story.
So just to, again, try and sum it up. So it's the person is lying there on a bed, you're standing next to them, you're sort of talking to them, you're touching their left arm.
Gently, you can barely even
Gently,
feel it.
yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
sometimes
yes.
I was going to say it's not even like you're touching, you're kind of hovering over
Oh,
it.
no, I'm actually
You are
touching, but it's
touching.
just a slight. So when you first learn, you feel like you've got to really push hard because
Yeah.
you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
But now, and everybody's arm is different.
Yeah.
So now I just literally lean my hand on there most of the time, and I can feel whether your arm is locked or unlocked.
Wow.
Right, and all I'm looking for is a change. I'm not looking to go, is it locked or is it unlocked? Not the kinesiology I do.
Yeah.
Mine is, did that just change?
Yeah.
Right, and sometimes when I'm scanning a piece of paper, if I move my hand too fast, and I'll go, oh, hang on. And then other times I'll go, your arm's not moving, hang on, and your whole arm's locked up. So something I've read has stressed your body out.
Oh, wow.
Right, so then I have to do a thing called SIPs. I don't have to, but I choose to.
Yeah.
SIPs to alleviate the stress that I've created, and then sometimes I have to do a few rounds of that, and sometimes it's just one, and then I can go back to where I was. But the body's gone, I don't like where it's not. I'm going to say I don't like where you've gone, or I've gone, yes, you've hit the spot, whatever it is.
Are you, because you're reading stuff out loud and then
Sometimes.
are you,
At times,
and then
yes.
sometimes you're not.
Sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I'm not. Because if I've got a list of emotions or a list of affirmations, I'm not going to read all of them out aloud. I'm actually just going to scan my hand down, read like I'm reading them. It's like I'm reading through you, if that makes sense. It's probably very hard to explain, and I'm waiting for your arm to move. And I will double check because that's in my personality.
Yeah.
As much as I absolutely love kinesiology, and I would love someone to do it, at least everybody in the world to have it done once, and they can walk away and go, not for me, yes for me, whatever, absolutely fine.
Yep.
I'm always a skeptic. And I've decided the time that I'm not skeptical is the time I need to walk away from it because my head's got in the way. So, but yeah. And I'm not a skeptic in that I know that it works because I have clients come back to me.
Yeah.
I have huge changes.
You had one client you were telling me about that it's a boy.
Yeah.
And is it one of your neighbours or something? And
So I'm allowed to talk about him. His name is Jack. He's special needs. He's now an adult. He's 24, turning 25 this year. And he comes to me weekly. And when he can't come, he gets very distressed because he's like, oh, I feel so much better. And he is verbal and I understand him. But if we were here, firstly, we wouldn't get a word in because you've got a microphone and he'd be like, I want this. But secondly, he's not as easy. You would take you a while to be able to understand him. Yeah. So it's been really helpful for his mum over the years when I've been doing it because he feels great once he's been. If he can't come, that's why he gets distressed. He skips home. He's 24 and he skips home. He can't skip, by the way, but he skips home. He'll tell you he can skip.
Joy.
Because of some of his ailments and stuff like that, and it makes him feel good.
Yep.
And, so every now and then I get the inkling when I'll write stuff down each time I see them, but I get the inkling that I need to let Mum know something. So I'll send her a message. She's a good friend of mine. I send her a message going, this has come up for Jack, and she's going, oh. And she then rings me, tell me more. And I'll tell her more. And she goes, okay, that explains that behaviour, and that behaviour. And she goes, I haven't been able to join the dots yet. She goes, and now I've been able to join the dots. Oh. So we've had quite a few things like that happen for him.
Yeah.
But I don't, and every now and then she'll reach out to me and go, is there any chance you can explain this behaviour or this, whatever's going on? So, so it's been really helpful for her.
Yeah, that's a really, really...
sort of thing. And when I say that, he wants to, I had 3 weeks holiday in November last year. He wanted to know if I could squeeze him in before I went. I'm like, darling, you're here. It's Thursday. I'm going tomorrow. You can't squeeze you in anymore. And why are you gone for 3 weeks?
He was already there.
Why are you going for 3 weeks? I can't see you, And he knows of some of my other kinesiology friends. So, he turns around, I'm going to go to her. Then I'm like, okay, off you go. He actually, sort of thing, but he's not. And he often tells me, he goes, how do I become a kinesiologist? He's just lovely. He's just lovely, and because I do sound and because that's part of one of the corrections and stuff, he will find stuff at his house and do it on his grandmother and stuff like that. It's just lovely. It's very lovely because he really, really finds it's helpful.
Yeah, he knows it
and
from
he's
himself.
now quite stressed at the moment because he's now moving away. So he's now moving down towards Spearwood.
Oh, that's a long way.
So
That's
which
very
is a long
far
way.
from Joondalup.
So all week, actually, for the last month, he's been going to his mum how do I see Jenny? How do I see Jenny? So we're going to make it work as much as we can make it work and stuff like that, because he knows he feels better because he also does martial arts. So he does stuff and represents Australia.
Wow. Does he?
Sort of thing. So I've got to squeeze him in before he goes. He's, sort of thing. So, and when he's sick, because I don't have him come when he's really unwell, but when he's sick, he's like, but I want to go. So we did just have a discussion about surrogates when we were offline. So I haven't actually ever surrogated him, but I think I might start having to.
Yeah, so tell everyone what that is. So I know what this is, obviously, but...
So, energy is everywhere. It is not just in me, it's actually everywhere. Yes. So we can do a thing where we surrogate for somebody else. And when I was trained, you still have a body on the table. So you have to get permission. You can't just, I can't just go, I'm going to surrogate for you.
Yep.
Scott, get on the table and not tell you.
Yep.
That's not how we make it work, because it's an energetic field. You can give permission for your children. We sort of have it that you can do that up to the age of 16. So
get in there quick. Balance the shit out of him.
However, he can still say no.
Yep.
He can still say no, and we can always ask if it's in their best interest, and if it still says no, then we don't go ahead.
Yep.
So I actually have had that in my training.
Wow.
So I've had where I needed to do something when I was training, not to do with surrogacy, but my daughter was home, who was my eldest, and she was stuff, and I needed to do one more case study, and I needed one more person. I needed an hour. And I've walked up to her and said, could you please? No. So she's like, no, not doing it. Okay, all right. And then I go off and do something, and I went, and I actually pleaded with her. And she's like, no, I've got to do this, this and this. And then she came to me, and I went, and I think I stormed off like a little child going, oh, my God, right? And I said to her, I said, and I looked at it and I went, this is going to take me 30 minutes. And I said to her, could you please, I need 30 minutes and then I can hand this in and this is done.
Yeah, you don't tick that off.
So she went, okay, can you give me 5 minutes? I've just got to do this. So she's come down, and she was not really wanting to do it, but she's decided, okay, I will. So she's laid on the table, and I'm doing the pre-checks. I'm struggling to get the pre-checks to work. I'm struggling to do it anyway. I've gone to do it, and her whole body's gone, no. And I've gone, I can't do it. She's going, Mum. And I've gone, I'm here. And I went,
you're not really.
Can't do it. You're not ready. I can't do it. Anyway, so I tried a few other things. I went, right, can you have a glass of water? I'll have a glass of water. That might be the bit that does it. So anyway, her body was going. She had decided. She said, Mum, I'm here. I can do it. I said, your body's gone. I want you to not do it. I'm not doing it. So I had to let it go, sort of thing. But the same thing can happen with surrogacy.
Right.
So we can get permission to surrogate for people and for animals and stuff like that.
And so just to clarify, this is... So Tracy could surrogate for our son. So
yes.
Tracy is on the table.
Tracy's on the table.
But it's to balance
yes.
Tommy.
Tommy,
okay.
whoever.
Yes.
Yep. So, and I've actually had quite a few, because I do babies as well. So I can't muscle monitor a baby. Their arm is not going to give me the same response that I really want them to give them. So I go through and I do pre-checks on Tracy. And I make sure your aura and your field is all in perfectly. If it's not, I correct all that. And then I ask the body if we can surrogate for. And it either says yes or it says no. And if it says yes, then we can go ahead. So you take on the energy of your child, okay? And then I go through pre-checks, and then we go through the balance. And then when we finish doing the balance on Tommy, if we're going to do that, and we've done that, I then break that circuit and then get you to tell me that you're you. So that's part of it. Part of it is a verbal thing. So I will, sort of thing. You'll say, I am Tommy, and your arm will tell me whether you're taking on that energetic field. And then when I break the circuit and finish, and then I go, I am Tracy, to make sure. And then I go through and do pre-checks and check that your aura is still, because it's actually a lot of energy that your body is using to do that. So the information you get, if your child is too young to be able to explain what's going on, the changes happen to that particular person, and I make sure that your energetic field is done as well. So I've had parents come when their babies are really young and to help them, and it's been really good. I've had it when parents have come because the kids are at school. They're not sick or anything, but there's stuff going on, and they do want to know what's happening, and the kids don't have the verbal words to tell them. So, you know, they've got the very basic, I'm hurt, I'm this, that and the other, but actually they're frustrated, but they don't know the word frustration, but it will come up to you because you've got that word. Right?
How great to do it on kids. Like, I know we've talked about this probably when we've talked about it, but that's a long time ago. Yeah. But gosh, to be able to clear things for little kids.
So I live in a cul-de-sac, and my neighbour across the road, she had a 4-year-old at the time, and I was learning and stuff like that. She came over and her daughter had gone to bed, and we knew we were going to do her daughter, we weren't doing her. She'd had hers and just, you know, sort of thing. So when I did the same thing, so I did pre-checks on her, made sure her oral was in fine. She said, I won't say the girl's name, sort of thing. Anyway, she's doing it. So this little girl had been having a lot of stomach stuff going on, and she's like, I don't know what's going on, and this, that and the other. And she's lying there and she's like, oh. And I said, what's wrong? She goes, I feel really tired. Now her daughter had gone to bed. So she said, I feel really tired. I said, are you going to be right today? She goes, yeah, I can feel that. And she was very connected to her daughter because she's so young. She said, I can feel that she's tired and she's going to sleep. I said, oh, cool. And then she could feel the stomach.
Oh, wow.
So she could actually feel it. Now she's
into it almost.
But she's very in tune with her daughter, right? So that sort of thing. So we went through. Anyway, her husband had never been and had kinesiology. He'd met her husband quite a few times and this, that and the other. And her daughter was going through a stage where she was being defiant. Put your shoes on, don't want to. Do this, don't know. Anyway, the next morning, none the wiser. Dad's gone, what did you do to our daughter? To his wife. She's like, why? She goes, she's not argued with me once. She's gone, yes, Dad, I'll go and get this, I'll do that, whatever. And she's like, what did you do?
Wow.
Right? Now, she's telling me secondhand this. She goes, I don't know what you two did, but can you keep doing it?
Sort of, you're going to have all the parents booking in for these kids with attitudes.
So, you know, so he's like, I don't know. So, you know, that's happened. And then I've had, I did have a client come to me who's had kinesiology with other people over the years, but booked in. She was in Perth. She booked in and went, I need help. I know that I'm struggling with this. So she'd had kinesiology. I didn't need to go through all the explanation and stuff. Anyway, once you've been to me for your initial appointment, I always send you a message within 24, 48 hours just to see how you're feeling, see if you've noticed any changes and stuff like that, if you want to ask any questions. I sent this woman a message and she said, I am so all over the place. I am angry at everybody. I'm frustrated. I'm tired. And she knew that this was an issue. She's had kinesiology for years, not through me, but other people. Yeah. And I instantly went, oh, my God, can you come back? Because it sounds like you don't want to be in your body and I need to help you sort of ground yourself. Yeah. She said, I can't, I'm not in Perth at the moment. I'm like, oh, okay. Anyway, my youngest daughter was at home and she's a bit more open to what I do. And because I'm racking my brain going, how can I help this woman? Anyway, I said to her, I can probably ask my daughter if you give me permission to surrogate for the energy and I'll help. But in the meantime, can you go outside, take your shoes off to ground yourself? Can you? And she's like, oh, I probably can. Oh, hang on, I can't because where I'm working, I've got to leave my boots on. I'm like, okay, no problems. Can you go and have a shower? Because I knew she was on a break. Can you go and have a shower? Can you wash your hands in cold water? Something like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then I said, I'll send you back a message in about 30 minutes and let you know whether – I'll send you a message in 5 minutes letting you know if she's available because I'm assuming she is because she's in the house, but I'll just check. And then if she is, then I'll let you know what happens. Anyway, I've gone down to the and she goes, what's wrong, Mum? And I told her and she's like, yeah. So she came down. She's quite open. So her oral, I couldn't find it. I'm going to say I couldn't find it in my arms, which are not long enough. So it's reaching around your body. I couldn't find it. Anyway, so I did all that. Halfway through doing all that, it's winter, like it's cool today for whatever in Perth. And she goes, I feel like I'm so hot, Mum. It's ridiculous, right? And I'm like, are you all right? So I put my hand on her forehead and I'm like, you're not running a temperature, the woman, sort of thing. And she goes, I feel like the sun is just beating on me.
The lady's outside.
Right. And I'm like, oh, okay. I went, oh, that's really weird. Anyway, we did everything that we did. And then I made sure my daughter was fine. We broke the circuit. We did it. And I went, you right? She good. So she's gone back and done her stuff. Sent a message to the woman and we ended up talking. And I went, just out of curiosity, because this happened, I said, are you running a temperature or something? And she's like, no. And I went, Well, halfway through the balance, she's like, I feel really hot, feel like the sun's beating on. She started laughing, and she goes, I actually managed to go outside. I'm up north and I stood in the sun for about 30 seconds because I was like, you said go outside. It's stinking hot up here in the Pilbara. I wasn't hanging out there any longer. I went inside and had a shower. She said, I feel so much better. And I went, that's hilarious. So I went down and told my daughter because she was like, Mum, I don't know what that is.
To validate that for your daughter as
it.
well.
She was like, oh, she's in the sun. So.
And does your daughter know this person?
No.
Wow.
No, so she just, I had to get permission.
Yeah.
I had to get permission, and I wanted to make sure she was comfortable with doing it as well.
Yeah.
And I said, because I had to get her to say that, because I said to the woman, she's going to have to know your name because I've got to get her to do that. And she goes, yeah, that's fine. If it's going to work, it's going to work. But she's had kinesiology for years over different places, so that's fine. So, that sort of thing. So I was like, yes.
So I have to tell a story. So when I was getting one of my balances, because obviously you can imagine Jenny and I don't shut up. Sometimes when she's trying to tune into me, we might have a quiet moment, but apart from that, we're full chatty. So on this time, I was telling you how on the podcast I'd listened to about the emotional code, how they talked about this incident with a horse.
Yep.
And so this horse had something wrong with him. I can't remember what it was, but they had vets come and look at this horse, and there was all this stuff going on, and they were just at a loss. Anyway, because the people that owned this horse, or maybe it was their friends, had done the emotional code with the muscle testing and things, they were like, do you reckon we could surrogate and just try, with the horse? So they started going through the muscle testing and looking at the emotions that were going on, and they were first of all figuring out what had actually happened, and they figured out it was grief the horse was experiencing, and they were like, grief, that makes no sense. And then they were like, okay, well, what's happened? And again, like what you were saying, with your books, with all the information, they're looking through lists, and whatever's giving them the emotional reaction, they're stopping at that and knowing that that's the particular trigger or point. And so it turned out that it was a bird. There was grief around a bird, and they were like, a horse? Why is a horse having grief around a bird? Anyway, so then the owner suddenly dawns on them, and they said, oh my gosh, I know exactly what it is. I think it was either a few days before or a week before, there'd been a nest with birds in it in a tree right in front of that horse's stall, and the nest had fallen and one of the babies had died right in front of the stall. So it all made perfect sense as to what the emotion was that was trapped in the horse. And once they cleared it, nothing wrong with this horse. Yep. But no vets, no one could know that. So I was telling Jenny this story, and so she's like, well, and I don't know if I said, do you have any stories or whatever, but straight away you told me.
I can tell you a story as well.
Yes.
So when I was studying, and I was very excited about everything, my sister works out at an estate that has horses, and my niece was getting the opportunity to, and she was probably about 10 at the time, she was getting an opportunity to learn to ride a horse. And all I know is all the horses out there all start with F, so I can't remember what the name of the horse was. Yeah. Anyway, she wasn't able to ride this horse because this horse, one of the hooves, there was a problem with it. And she was actually really upset. They'd come to the house and they were talking. She goes, Auntie Jen, this horse can't. I'm really worried about this horse. Anyway, I said to her, well, why don't we see if we... She was so distressed. I was like, I need to do something to help my niece. This is that sort of thing. My sister's very connected, like quite in contact with the owners and stuff. And she's like, well, I said, well, why don't you ask them if we can surrogate and see if we can do something? And I was doing it more to help my niece. I was hoping to help the horse, but I was trying to help the niece, right? Yeah. Sort of thing. Anyway, my sister must have been texting back and forth. I go, yeah, no problems, sort of thing. Anyway, so my niece, and I said, do you have a photo of the horse? And she's like, yeah, on Mum's phone. I said, okay. Well, we need the photo. You need to know the name, this, that and the other. She'd never had kinesiology, so she's all excited, gets up on the table. I actually then transferred the photo to my iPad because I thought that's bigger and it's easier. Yeah. So we actually surrogated for the horse and stuff. And so she was very excited. And before they left the house, she got a text message to say that the horse had been able to put his foot down and was able to walk around and stuff like that.
Oh
she was so excited. But I was doing it for my niece. Yeah. Like I was still learning and I didn't understand everything that was going on. But I was like, and I just learned about surrogacy because I was part of it in class. So if I hadn't actually been part of the surrogate demonstration, I probably would have gone, is that real?
Yeah.
Because I couldn't move my arm. So when I was in class, they were talking, this is how you do surrogacy, right? And one of the ladies had hurt her shoulder. I didn't know because she was right-handed and it was her left shoulder. I didn't know. And they said, and I had no idea what I was putting. I said, they went, anyone volunteers? And I went like that. And I was like, I don't know what I'm volunteering for, but, Yeah. So she couldn't move her arm. I didn't know that. I could move mine. I showed in class I could move all my arms. And as soon as the lecturer had done a particular hand mode for that particular person, she said, now put your hand on her shoulder. So I did. She said, now lift your left arm. And I couldn't.
Oh my God.
I was like, I can't move it. Hang on, what's going on? I had no idea. Anyway, and then I broke the circuit and I could move my arm.
Yeah, see,
And then I put it back on and I couldn't do it. I was like, what the heck? This is ridiculous. Anyway, I actually had 2 of the other students that were in the class with me going, did they put you up to that? Yeah. And I went, no.
And see, I think until you experience something, or like the owners of that horse, they saw.
Yeah, they sent her a message going, oh my God, he's been able to put his foot down. So she was, and I was doing it because I was looking at my niece going, she's distressed about this horse. Within a short period of time, the horse was able to put his foot down. We got told, my sister got a text message, able to put down. And as I said, I did it because I wanted to help my niece. I don't know if it recorded the other part, but yes, I was part of the surrogacy to do with learning how to do it in class. Yeah. So that part of it. So some people feel it and some people don't. There is actually down south of the river a lady that runs a doggy day spa, doggy day care thing. She's actually an animal kinesiologist as well, and she did that because she's into dogs. Now, where I trained, she's actually a marketer, and she'd got the job to be in marketing, and apparently about a week afterward went, I can't market something I don't understand. So they showed her how kinesiology works. Yep. She obviously trained in it because that's what she does. Yep. And her intention is to do animals.
Oh,
and so even when we were
that.
studying, there was a couple of people that took rescue dogs in because we talked about rescue dogs.
Oh,
and they were like, there was something going on. They said, there's just something going on. So they would, because we were all training, we were all still very basic, didn't know what was going on. A couple of them actually took them to there, and then they found out what was going on, and so they were able to alleviate and help. So it's good.
What a brilliant idea. I'm obsessed with rescue dogs.
I know, as soon as you said rescue dogs,
I literally
lost Tracy.
I sent him a profile. I sent him a profile of a dog yesterday. So
I did read it.
He did ignore it. He didn't reply.
He said he read it. That's as much as you're going to get, Tracy.
But I thought it was meant to be, and you know why? Because my fake name, whenever I use a fake name with examples, I might say John for a boy or whatever, but always it's Sarah for a girl. Always, except when I've got a client that's called Sarah and I have to change the example, but it's always Sarah. So I saw this dog was called Sarah. I was like, what? You don't call a dog Sarah? Must be meant to be.
Did you read the description?
Yeah.
Very high needs.
Maybe Jenny can clear him.
Maybe, who knows? So, I haven't done, for myself, I haven't done many animals other than the sort of thing, but it is something that you can do. I do have a dog at my house, so that's one of the reasons I haven't done it. But you can do it also. Some people do it by taking the fur. So I don't have cats in my house because I'm going to say highly allergic. They like me, but my nose doesn't like them. So I don't. But you can do that, and there are people out there that do that as well. That's what they focus on. Yeah. They do animals and stuff like that.
And you've told me before you can do groups.
I can. So you generally do groups by having an intention. So you do around a particular theme. I wouldn't do massive groups, but I would definitely do a small group because I still would like to see if there's an emotion for each individual person personally, sort of thing. But you can hold space for them and stuff like that. And that's
Jenny and I want to do some joint things together, and that's one of the things that I'd love her to do. So especially after a breath work, I think that could be really lovely.
It's very grounding and stuff to be able to help them, and sometimes, especially if they have some emotional stuff come up and they've gone, I don't know why that's come up, we can sort of help them clear that out and clear it and stuff like that. So that was
going to be my last question because we're running quite. It's been a good episode. Amazing stories. Who would you say? So if somebody has listened first time, starting to understand kind of what it is. The type of person that you like to work with or help, what are they going through, or how can you help them with certain things?
So you want me to tell you something specialised, and I can't tell you something specialised because I want to help everybody.
Yeah.
This has probably been my main struggle. Predominantly what I do help is middle-aged women and people in their early 20s. That's just what seems to gravitate. What I find is it seems to go in seasons. So I go through stages for whatever reason, people will come, a lot of them have adrenal fatigue. Then I'll have people come because they're having hormonal issues. Then I'll have people come because they're having sleep issues.
Yeah.
Then I'll have a whole lot of children come because they've got some issues going on, and there's primitive reflexes that are an issue and stuff like that for them.
Yeah.
So that's what I find. So yes, I should probably say I have a specialised.
Oh no, it's more,
No,
people
because-
listening who go, oh,
Yeah.
should I see a kinesiologist or not?
So what I really want people to do is start in actually in tuning into themselves and listening to themselves, because that's actually what it is. I've got loads of friends that will go, oh, my friend should come and see you, and I'm really telling them that they need to do it. I find that comes in season, so sort of thing. And I know that I should specialise in one particular thing or have that predominantly for my business. But what I really want people is start to use their intuition and use their own gut feeling and know what they really, really want. I do have I've had lots of friends going, oh, my friend should come, and I keep telling them and this, that and the other. People will find me when they want to find me. That my people, I call them my people because that sort of thing. But you need to listen to yourself and go, I need to keep doing it. Same as if you hurt yourself, you need to go to your physio, not keep going, oh, I'm just going to keep pushing on for the next month and then go because it's worse. That's what I think that people need to do, and be open-minded and be listen to that little voice in your head that says, I need help, or there's somebody else that can help me and stuff like that. Right now I am actually having a lot of women come through that are having hormonal stuff going on. I also find that some of my clients reflect what's going on for me, which I find very entertaining. I go, oh, 'cause they'll come in, I recently had a foot problem. I've gone to the podiatrist and they're helping me, and then I have 3 or 4 clients come through who got foot problems. I'm like, oh my. So then I pass on the information that's helpful. And I say to them, this is not kinesiology related, but this is what I've been told to do, and it sounds like you've got the same sort of thing and the same.
Yeah.
And I'm not diagnosing anything, because you should go to a podiatrist. But if you want to, and some of them have gone, oh my God, that's amazing. Same as I go to a PT person, and she says to me, you don't activate your glutes properly, you need to do this, that and the other. I've had 4 clients, which I know are your clients as well, and I've gone, try this, and they go, oh, they don't activate.
See, to me that's synchronicity. You've had it happen for you at the same
sort of
time.
Thing. And they go, oh, they don't activate. And I go, right, so you need to do this when you're lying in bed, you need to do this before you get out of bed in the morning. And they go, oh, and so then they are able to, and then they stop having knee issues or something like that. So
So everyone should go see her.
Yeah, everyone should go and see. So kinesiology is not because you just have an issue. Kinesiology helps you create goals as well. So if you're trying to manifest something or make a goal happen or change your job or whatever, kinesiology helps with that as well. So the lady that runs she doesn't run it anymore, but is still a lecturer, who's I think about 76 years of age, and she's still a lecturer and loves kinesiology.
Yeah, that's why she's still doing it.
She's still doing it. One of her biggest things is she was having kinesiology, and she had, from memory, her job was being made redundant. She was going to have to look elsewhere. So her goal was that she wanted to have a career that was fulfilling, had the energy of money, because that's the exchange, and that would happen within a certain period of time. And that's how kinesiology started, because she was already learning and doing workshops. She got made redundant, and it made it available for her to be able to do it. So she didn't think that it was going to be that. She thought it was going to be in her field that she currently was in, but then this all opened up. So it's just being open to having that change. I've had some people that have played sport that have been trying to, especially young teenagers that are trying to do whatever, and they're like, and I'm like, okay, so we go through the motions of what they're trying to get through done, and then they seem to just take off. So, or they go, actually, that sport's not for me. That one over there is. Yeah. So they, it opens that for them.
Yeah. And I was going to actually say it aligns, which is actually the name of your business.
Yes, which is very funny how it's the name of my business, because it came out of a conversation, and I didn't have it. Somebody at a table, because I was struggling to come up with a business name.
Well, that seems like a good segue, because we're an hour and a half. It's time to wrap up, you two.
Well, she was just thinking about the name being that, and then I'll tell you.
Yeah, so I was one of my friends said, well, tell me what kinesiology is. And I was going through it and she goes, so you've aligned the body. And I went, yes. She goes, well, why aren't you calling it Align Kinesiology? And I went, I don't know. I did say, I don't know. And then went, oh, that's what I'm calling it.
So the funny thing is when you reached out to me and we were going to touch base and things, it was probably the first time I really paid attention to your business name. Like I'd been giving your stuff out for, however many months before that. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, how did I not notice this before? So one of my kind of programs, I guess, or ideas is lift, shift, clear and align.
Oh, there you go.
So when I saw it was Align, I was like, well, I've had the synchronicity of the podcast. I've had the synchronicity of you reaching out at the same time and me looking into what that was. And then your name was exactly what lined up with mine. So I was like, she is my person.
Thank you.
Yes. And now we're friends. So we get to chat all the time.
Beautiful.
All right. But I know you're going to cut us off because otherwise this will be a 2-hour podcast.
It was good. Time went very quickly. No,
Thanks for having me.
So if people do want to get in touch with you, how do they do it?
They can do it through my website, and there's a booking system, so you can book when you want.
And is that Align
Kinesiology? Yep.
.com.au?
Yep. And I am on Facebook and on Instagram.
Under your name or
under
under
Align Kinesiology? Yep. Okay. So not so good
links,
at posting stuff, but I am there.
Yep.
Can I also just say, Jenny now is qualified in breathwork and she can do individual journeys. Yes. So where everyone's been asking me to do individual journeys, I love the energy of a group, so I'm going to stick with groups. But if anyone wants to do any individual breathworks, Jenny is your girl.
Yes. And you can get on a book for that, and you can book for a kinesiology and a breathwork session if you want.
Perfect.
Yep.
Well, I feel like if people made it to the end of this episode, they're open-minded. I feel like if they would have tuned out long ago if they were not interested. If you're still listening, check Jenny out. I will put links in the description. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No problem.
Thank you.
We have... I'm trying to think of timing, always trying to work out when an episode...
I think we've missed them all. I think by the time that this episode comes out...
Well, our individual retreat is next week. We have 1 week to go. That sold out a little while ago, which was a huge thing for us. Like, we were very excited to sell that out so quickly, like it was weeks before the actual date. So thank you we're looking forward to spending time with those people on the retreat next week. And then the one coming after that will be October. There is a waiting list on the website, tracyquayle.com. You can sign up to the waiting list to make sure that you don't miss out. And we may or may not do some one-day event in August, but we have not figured that out.
Yeah, but if we do, we're hoping that Jenny will come and do a group balance, so we'll get a chance to meet her in person.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And 7th of June is our emotional release breathwork journey. So that's it's basically 3 hours of your time, maybe 4 if you want to hang around afterwards, do some grounding. That's in the Swan Valley, and you can find details of that on our website also.
And then the day after that, I think it's the 8th and 9th, is our relationship retreat in the beautiful Swan Valley of Mandoon. I always get them mixed up. Mandoon Estate. And we do have some places available, but it probably be quite close to the time of...
Yeah, if these dates have been in the past, apologies. We have a few episodes in the bank, And the other thing we would think about doing, I'll just let people know, is we might switch to weekly. If you want us to switch to weekly episodes, give us some encouragement. Leave a comment, leave a review. I've noticed the Spotify 5-star reviews are still going up, so that's nice.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Tell your friends. And then, it is a plan that we will, at some point, switch to weekly episodes.
Yep.
Have I missed anything?
I don't think so.
Okay. Good.
Perfect.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Really appreciate the support. Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.